Hi there, I'm Stan Pines of Stanco Enterprises. Are you sick of this always happening to you? Then you need the chamois of the future. Made with the same material astronauts use to clean up cranberry stains on the moon. That's the Sham Total. It's a total sham.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pining for the Falls, the podcast where we had a mysterious twin podcast from another dimension, and they hate us. It's very.
They hate us. They hate us because we're making them watch Darling in the Franxx eventually.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sorry, y'all. That's just the thing that's happening.
That's happening.
I'm Fire Princess Lily, and I am joined, as always, by my good friend Doc Sea Monster. Hey, Doc, how you doing?
Better today. So I had my second vaccine shot about 2 weeks ago.
Heard those are rough.
And the first one, I was okay until like a week later, and I got sick for like 1 day, but I was fine after that.
Right.
This one, again, I was fine for a week, but after that, I've been like a mess for like 4 days.
Yeah.
But I feel better today.
Good.
But like before this, I was like just like exhausted, fatigue, malaise, whole thing. But I feel good today. Feel pretty good today. And today is my official 2 weeks from the second shot, which means I'm free. I can do what I want.
Yeah, you can. Just you know.
Now I am still gonna wear my mask. Still gonna wash my hands. You know, I'm still gonna do the safe things.
You should always wash your hands, even outside of a pandemic, kids.
I know, but I mean like specifically more than usual.
Fair. Fair.
But yeah, so I'm usually very good about washing my hands. Before you eat, after you go to the restroom, when you come inside from outside, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Point is, I am still going to be practicing safe behaviors, best practices, but I'm going to start going to the movies.
There you go.
I'm definitely going to see Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
I might see Raya and the Last Dragon or whatever else is in the theaters right now. Who knows? It's a mystery.
Life is a mystery. I forget how the next line of that song goes, but
it's might solve a mystery, might rewrite history.
You're
thinking of the DuckTales theme?
No, I was not, but good on ya. So what have you been up to? I mean, other than being sick, like I guess the last few days, or is that just being it? That it?
Okay, now I'm trying to think. Now I'm starting to remember the song that actually has the line that goes, "Life is a mystery."
Life is a mystery. Blah blah. Stand alone. I hear you call my name, and it feels
Everyone
like
must.
home.
Life is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone.
Is that really the line? I thought that I was like, no, that can't be the line. That seems like no way. That's the line? Okay, yeah.
It's Like a Prayer by Madonna.
There we go. Like a Prayer by Madonna. See, kids, this is why you listen to our podcast to find out about, 80s songs, right?
I think I've talked about this before, but like, I'm not a music guy, but I am pretty heavily into music.
Fair
I have found a really fun French pop singer named Corinne. It might be Corine. I don't know how she pronounces it, but it's Corine. She does like retro disco pop, and it is really good. I have been enjoying the hell out of her songs.
Well, that's cool.
For the past week or so. Good stuff. Let's see. What else have I been doing lately? Aside from being sick and listening to French pop music. Nothing. A friend of mine sent me a gift of some magic supplies from the Quiver Company.
Oh?
And they were really high quality. Like they were really good. I don't want to say that I'm surprised that they were good because like I had heard good things about Quiver. They make deck boxes, sleeves, and like card holders. But I was like surprised. These are actually really nice. Even like the cheaper deck boxes are really sturdy and hold a lot of stuff. It's pretty good stuff all around.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah. Let's see what else is going on for me. Got a timeline for my Biden bucks. The check is being mailed on Friday, so I might get it sometime next week, or who knows? Depends on how hard DeJoyce tries fucking the post office.
Is he still the?
Yes, because it's not like a cabinet position. But he's apparently starting up new bullshit, so he might be removed. Who knows?
Like, you think that Biden could come in and just remove him?
He hasn't yet.
Because
I'm surprised. I don't know why he hasn't though. We'll see how that hashes out.
Yeah.
One of those. It's one of those things that's just like who fucking knows how it's going to work out. Let's see. How about you? How have you been?
I've been good. You know, just doing stuff, doing things, working mostly, as were. I have not watched a lot of that anime I was talking about on Saturday. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I still want to watch it or not, because I described it to myself. I was like, yeah, the premise is good, but man, I don't know. If this is going to turn into a harem anime, I am not on board.
I have no idea what you're talking about because I may have passed out from flu-like symptoms during Saturday's podcast.
I know you passed out like a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so for the listeners, I have chronic insomnia, and this means that I am awake and asleep at random time if I am asleep.
I know that one time I killed you with wrestling, so that was fun. What's up?
Yeah. So what was this anime?
Suppose a kid from the final dungeon boonies moved to a starter town.
Okay, I remember this. It's probably and from what it looks like, it's probably going to turn into an anime.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see if I continue it. Like, it's fun, but it's also like harem anime.
Yeah. I've been rewatching Epithet Erased.
Nice.
I finally convinced a second person to watch it. I've got my friend Ing on Twitter to watch. He is Ing on Twitter. He has excellent art and he has a comic. You should check him out. But yeah, I've got my friend to watch it with me. He's been enjoying the heck out of it. So
good deal.
It's a good show. It's wholesome. But it's wholesome, but it's not like dumb wholesome. It's fun wholesome.
Right. Let's see. Of course, I've been watching wrestling. Orange Cassidy had a match last night. It was good. Enjoyed it. Yeah.
Cool.
I love Orange Cassidy. Like, I would really like if I could get an artist to draw my shark as though she were cosplaying Orange Cassidy, complete with like a T-shirt she's wearing that just features herself. Like,
sure.
Have you seen Orange Cassidy?
No.
Okay, hold on, everybody.
The best artist I know for sharks charges like $60 for a single character. So,
right.
Is that within your budget?
Maybe eventually. I did spend.
He does draw really good sharks. I love it. They're not his sharks. They're they are the sharks of another person, and I love their sharks.
Yes.
I love the third person sharks the second person draws.
Right. I get what you're saying. So in our little chat back and forth on Discord, I did post a picture of Orange Cassidy.
That's pretty great.
He is really great. His whole gimmick, I'm sure I've explained this before, but his whole gimmick is he could maybe be the best wrestler of all time, but there's also likely a chance that somebody is better than him, so why is he going to try?
Yeah. That's a fun gimmick.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, yeah, sure, I can do a great moonsault, but somebody can do a better moonsault. So, and so he does like really. I pull this up. Like his signature move, honestly, is his kicks, which I'm going to link a GIF. Those are his kicks. If you look in chat. That's how he wrestles. Just like real lazy, real like, yeah, I'm kicking you in the shins. It's a real good joke. That match was a classic. And
Since this GIF loops pretty good, so it looks like he just sits there and does this for like minutes on end.
he does this for like almost 30 seconds, which
Yeah.
feels like an eternity.
I appreciate this.
And then he'll finish it up with a super kick. See that? Sorry, I'm just linking gifs to Doc Sea Monster here while I'm talking about Orange Cassidy, so you can like get a good feel for it. That's a super kick, and then out of nowhere, I'll see if I can find a good one. He'll just explode in the ring. He'll start doing a bunch of cool stuff real fast, like it comes out of nowhere. And the big thing about him is he wrestles with his hands in his pockets. I love Orange Cassidy so much. This is an Orange Cassidy appreciation podcast.
Yeah, this is pretty great. I appreciate this.
Yeah. So yeah. But he had a match last night, so it was cool. Like he wrestled against Ryan Nemeth, and I knew Orange Cassidy was win because Ryan Nemeth isn't signed. So AEW came out with another show. Like they have Dynamite on Wednesdays, they have Dark on Tuesdays, but they came out with another show on Mondays on YouTube called Dark Elevation. The broadcasters are Tony Schiavone and Paul White. Paul White, aka the Big Show from WWE, who is no longer with WWE. That was big news, like a couple weeks ago. But
yeah.
And either AEW needs to make Elevation 1 hour, or they need to make Dark 1 hour. They don't need two 2-hour YouTube shows. It's like, I love wrestling, but sometimes there's too much of it. I can't keep up. And the problem with Dark and Dark Elevation is you often know who's going to win the match based on, is this person signed? Is this person not signed? You know, whoever signed, that person's going to win the match. It's just a lot of feeder matches, you know, to get you more TV ready or to pad your record. And so it's just like, it's very hard to watch Dark for like 2 hours and know almost all the outcomes of every match, even if I like the wrestler.
Understandable.
So that's that. Oh, and the final episode of the first half of the second season of the Slime anime came out earlier today, so I'm probably gonna watch that.
I'm a few episodes behind. I've been watching the new season, but I'm a few episodes behind.
Yeah, fair enough. What was the last thing you saw?
I think I've only watched
Spoilers,
the first.
Folks.
I think I've only seen like the first 2 or 3. So.
Oh, fair enough. There's going to be 11 episodes in the first half, and then later on this year, they're going to release the second half of the second season. And you all can thank COVID for that. Thanks.
Oh, My Hero Academia comes back next week.
Oh, does it? Nice.
Yes, I believe it comes back on I want to say 26th, but it might be the 29th.
Yeah. Let's scrap the Studio Trigger podcast and let's rebrand it as a My Hero Academia podcast, because that is less horrendous.
Okay, but there's already like 88 episodes.
Yeah. Perfect. And it has an ending. It has a foreseeable ending.
It's a shonen anime, Lilith.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
It theoretically has an ending.
I'm reading the manga. We are either in the last arc of this manga, or we are in like the third or second to last arc of this manga.
Okay, but people have been saying that for like a year.
Yeah, but this time, for sure. I'm not gonna tell you what's happening, because I don't believe in like spoiling things that are like, you know, like super current. But I think it's coming up.
It's the 27th.
Is when My Hero Academia is coming back?
Yeah.
Cool. That is Saturday. Court, just shut up. Sorry, I was telling myself to shut up. Anyway, yeah, that's all I've been up to. because we talked a lot about wrestling on Saturday, so I don't want to like hit you with a double shot, like about what's been going on. If you listen to this podcast to find out my wrestling takes, which is nobody listens to this podcast for that, but if you do and you want to get a more in-depth dive on the world of professional wrestling, listen to Let's Pull the Trigger on a podcast. That's where I do the big talking. Because
of how our recording sessions are scheduled.
Yeah, pretty much. If this one came before the other one, you would hear the big wrestling talk here. But I don't want to hit Nathan twice. I'm trying to be considerate. So with all that, I think it's time to ask the question of: do you want to talk about today's episode of Gravity Falls?
I would love to.
All right, we watched season 2, episode 12, A Tale of Two Stans, it's the backstory for Stanley and Stanford Pines, which...
It's the backstory for the show.
I mean, basically.
It's like the back... I mean, I'm going to get into this more later, but like this is... it's critical backstory for the characters and context for the show in general.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. We open on a beach. There's a little sandpiper skittling away. There are two kids
it's
chasing
Glasyard Beach, for the record.
It is. Well, they don't mention it's Glasyard Beach until later. So I was gonna...
No, it's on the sign.
Is it the sign? I'm pretty sure the sign isn't until later when Stan's like telling the story.
Oh yeah, the sign's later.
Yeah. So it's our favorite Pines twins. Well, no, it is a pair of Pine twins, but it's not our favorite ones. It's two boys. This is Stanley and Stanford. And one of these kids has 6 fingers on each hand. So we'll get more into that. On the boards, if you take a look, there is a tag that says Blendon was here. And some iconography towards the top. But that's interesting. They are in a no trespassing area, closed area. The no trespassing sign has no crossed out and cool written in its place, so cool trespassing area. Stanford, or the 6-fingered kid, says, cool, a mysterious boarded up cave. I wonder what's in there. Maybe it'll be filled with lost prehistoric life forms or Mesoamerican gold. And the one without 6 fingers says, well, go ahead, ladies first, just twin stuff. The 6-finger kid tries to pull off the boards, and he can't do it, which leads the other kid to like laugh at him. He's like, haha, good thing you got your smarts, Poindexter. I got the, that other thing. What's it called? All right, punching. And just pausing for a quick second to talk about, he punches through these boards, and he's like, cool, splinters. But as the camera like pans out, can we talk about how he punched a perfect triangle into these boards?
Yeah, that's intentional.
I know that's intentional. Because look, there's a theory out there that Grunkle Stan is Bill Cipher. Like through whatever point of like weirdness, he is actually Bill Cipher.
Like there's some weird time travel thing?
Yeah, there's some kind of like weird loop. Because Stanley is the only person who calls Stanford Sixer as a nickname because of his 6 fingers. Bill also calls Stanford Sixer. So it's real weird. Anyway, I know that the triangle is intentional. I just thought like...
Well, I just mean like, I think that's like... I'm sure it's probably supposed to mean something.
Yeah.
That's just being a vague reference to Bill. Because actually, at this point in the season, Bill hasn't come back yet.
Not yet. No, he's going to come back in a few episodes.
Because like so far, Bill has just been in that one episode.
Yeah.
Season 1, like he has yet to resurface.
So these two twins, the first set of Pine twins, are looking through, and Stanford. I'm not gonna stop calling him the Six Finger Kid. It turns out that Stan has been using Stanford's name since the accident. We're gonna learn about the accident. I'm just tired of calling him the Six Finger Kid. But Stanford's like, it's kind of spooky in here, and Stanley says, "Don't worry, bro. Wherever we go together. Hey, don't forget to leave our names on this place so they know who owns the place." And so they write Stanley and Stanford Pines. We got through the opening, and then back to the Mystery Shack. And Grunkle Stan is like, "Finally, after all these long years of waiting, you're actually here." He goes over to hug Stanford. He's like, "Brother," and he gets punched in the face. He's like, "What the heck was that for?" Stanford's like, "That was an insanely Christy move, restarting the portal. Didn't you read my warnings?" He's like, warnings. How about maybe a thanks for saving you from whatever appears to be, I don't know, some kind of sci-fi sideburn dimension. And Stanford is not pleased. He's like, "Thank you? You really are going to want me to thank you after what you did 30 years ago?" He's like, "After what I did? Why, you ungrateful." He goes to punch Stanford, and Stanford is like, nah. He just ducks, weaves, grabs Stanley from behind, and puts him in a lock. Which is surprising for Stanley, as we'll find out, because he's always been kind of the muscle of the two.
Yeah.
But Stanley says, don't expect me to go easy on you just because you're family. That's smart." You know. This one Mabel interjects, and she's like, "Hi there, Mabel here. Quick question, what the heck is going on?" Stanford said, "Stan, you didn't tell me there were children down here." And some sort of large hairless gopher, gesturing to Zeus, who says, "Yeah, I get that a lot." Which is good. Stanley gets up, he says, "They're your family, Poindexter. They're Shermie's grandkids." He's like, "I have a niece and nephew?" He smiles, walks over to Mabel, shakes her hand, and says, "Greetings." Do kids still say greetings? I haven't been in this dimension for a really long time. Mabel says, "Whoa, a six-fingered handshake. That's a whole full finger friendlier than normal." Stanford is impressed. He's like, "I like this kid. She's weird." Dipper is freaking the fuck out.
He's losing his shit.
He is losing.
He's lost his tiny little mind.
He's losing his shit. He's like, You're the author of the journals." Stanford says, "You've read my journals?" He's like, "Read them? I've lived them. I've been waiting for so long to meet you. I don't know what to say. I have so many questions." And then he starts hyperventilating. He's like, "Oh no, I'm going to throw up." He's like, false alarm. Just got to write it out. Stanford says, "Listen, there'll be time for introductions later. But first, tell me, Stan, are there any security breaches? Does anyone else know about this portal?" He's like, "No, just us. And also maybe the entire U.S. government." We cut over to a monitor that's got a bunch of federal agents running around. Agent Powers says, "Fan out. We're not going anywhere until we find Stan Pines and those kids." To which Stanford's like, "Okay, it's all right. It's all right. We've got a while before they find this room. We just need to lay low and think of a plan." He pulls out one of his the number one journal. He starts writing in it. Mabel says, "Well, it looks like we're stuck down here for a while. So who wants to tell us their entire mysterious backstory?" To which Stanford says, "Yes, I have some questions about all this myself, Stanley." The twins are like, "What? Stanley? But you said your name is Stanford." To which Stanford freaks the fuck out. He's like, "What? You took my name? What else have you been doing all these years, you knucklehead?" Dipper's like, "Yeah, Grunkle Stan, no more lies. You owe us some answers. What's the deal with the portal? Why'd you keep it a secret?" And Mabel's like, "Yeah, what happened between you and your brother?" To which Zeus runs up, and this is obviously a jab at the fans of the show. This is like, he's like, "Yeah, I'm hoping this all aligns exactly with my fanfic, Stan. Otherwise, I'll be very disappointed." I like pot shots at fandoms, personally.
Yes.
They're my favorite thing in media. Um, but Stan says, okay. I know I have a lot of explaining to do. So it all started a lifetime ago. 1960 something. And here's where we see the Glass Yard Beach, home of Glass Yard Water Taffy sign. He's like, Glass Yard Beach, New Jersey. I lived with my mom and pa in the lead paint district in the family pawn shop. My dad was a strict man, tough as a cinder block and not easily impressed. To which this man says, I'm not easily impressed. My mother was a pathological liar, which served her well as a phone psychic. This woman picks up a phone. She says, that'll be 99 cents an hour, which is cheap. That's like real cheap for a phone psychic. I don't know. Maybe because it's the 60s, that's super expensive. I don't think so.
Yeah, but wasn't a burger like 50 cents?
Yeah, like a burger was like 50 cents or like a quarter. So.
It's like 3 burgers. So it's like, or still like, that's like 3 or 4 burgers. So that's what? It's like, that's what, like $40 in today's money?
Yeah, something like that. But.
So yeah, it's not a crazy amount, but that's a lot.
Yeah, but it's like per hour.
Sure.
I don't know anybody who needs to talk to a psychic for an hour, but anyway, she says that'll be 99 cents an hour. It's like, no, you're overpriced. Oh yeah, I predicted you were gonna hang up. Stan continues the story with it. Then there was my nerdy twin brother Stanford. If his abnormally IQ wasn't enough, he also had a rare birth defect that gave him 6 fingers on each hand, which might have explained his obsession with sci-fi mystery weirdness. As for me, I have what my mom would like to call personality. Stan runs into the room with a bucket on his head and hits a dresser drawer, falls over. Stanford jumps down and helps him. The twins laugh, and he's like, but as different as we were the perfect team. And every day we'd wander to the beach looking for adventure. They run out of the room. We see them wandering that cave from before. And they're just looking around, and that's when they point out a derelict boat. And like, whoa, a shipwrecked sailboat. It's probably haunted by pirate ghosts. To which Stanley says, yeah, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And I once saw a dead rat floating in a bucket. Stanford says, what's wrong with you? It's like, hey, you know what's missing? They're like, and Stanford's like, yeah, flag. So they drag this half boat out of the cave. Shirtless, because they put their shirts up as flags. They're sunburned as heck. And they name the ship the Stanowar, which is good continuity for the fact that Stan has named his like little dinghy boat the Stanowar. Like, so, just seeing like a lot of like Stanley's stuff. Just like, obviously he's still like attached to the idea of the Stanowar, is kind of what I mean.
Yeah, especially because he wants to do it with his family. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, boats are important to him. This is when Stanford gets hit with a rock, and he's like, "Oh, what the heck?" This is when 3 bullies are like, "Well, if it isn't the Loser Twins, nice boat. You get it at the dump." They all laugh and high five. This is when Stanley says, "You would know, Crampeller. Now get lost." Crampeller says, listen, dorks, and listen good. You're a 6-fingered freak, and you're just a dumber, sweatier version of him. You're lucky you have each other, because neither of you will ever make any friends. And they walk away laughing. Stanford feels really bad about being 6 fingers, having 6 fingers. And but Stanley reaches over and says, hey, don't let those idiots get to you. But Stanford's like, but I'm a freak. I just wonder if there's anywhere in the world where weirdos like me fit in. Stanley says, hey, chin up, buddy, look. One of these days, you and me, we're going to sail away from this dumb town. And we'll hunt for treasure and get all the girls. And we'll be an unstoppable team of adventurers. Stanford's like, you really mean it? He's like, yeah, high 6. And he's like, yeah, high 6. So they give each other what is really a high 11. But he says 6 to make Stanford feel better. We get more narration from Stanford as they're like doing, well, Stanford's doing math on the chalkboard, and Stanley's just drawing pictures on the chalkboard. But Stan says, those were good times. Those bullies may have been right about us not making many friends. But when push comes to shove, you only really need one. We get a time skip to where they're in high school. They're working on the boats. Stanley's like drinking a pit cola and like hitting a nail with a hammer while Stanford's like making an entire compass contraption. It's good.
Yeah.
We cut over again to like a dance situation. Stanford's trying to ask out a girl. She throws punch in his face. Stanley walks up and throws punch in his own face, and they both laugh. You know, because he wants his brother to feel good. It's very cool. I like it. Oh, go ahead.
They really sell their early relationship as like really kind of sweet and close.
Yeah.
Which makes like the breakdown of it all the more painful.
Absolutely. We cut to the back to the house where they live, and trophies are appearing on the mantelpiece. And Grunkle Stan says, Ford's brains seem to get more impressive every year. And so did our pet project. We cut over to the boat. They're putting up sails. And he says, sure, I got more than my fair share of trouble. But when your brother's the smartest kid in school, you always got a leg up on the competition. He's cheating off of Stanford's test, which Stanford lets him because they're brothers.
Yeah.
We cut over to a banner that says New Jersey Science Fair, which I love the little caption underneath. It's very quote unquote Jersey. It says, what? You think you're some kind of smart guy? I think that's a good bit, a good gag.
Did you know that if you go to New Jersey, like by road, there's no toll to get in, but there's a toll to get out?
There's no toll to get in, but there's a toll to get out?
Yes, there's a toll to get... They will charge you to leave the state.
Oh, wow. Dang. Flying to New Jersey, folks. Well, I guess that's more expensive.
They will let you in, but you have to pay to get out. New Jersey's a nice place. I've been to a few places in New Jersey. It's fun. It's a decent enough place. The boardwalks are really nice.
Nice. It's just
like Wildwood, Morris Piers, stuff like that. Really nice.
It's just the Hotel California of America. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave unless you pay us.
If you find yourself on a New Jersey boardwalk, try the pizza. It's not like fancily dressed, but because it's made in a place with like very salty air, it's got a very unique quality to it. It's worth trying at least once. New Jersey boardwalk pizza is kind of its own distinct thing.
Right. I feel you.
And of course, you can also pick up stuff like saltwater taffy, molasses paddles, all kinds of stuff.
We cut over to down to the science fair, and Stanford is getting first place and a trophy for his perpetual motion machine, which is pretty cool. Stanley, Grunkle Stan, is still narrating. He's like, the future was looking bright for both of us. And until one day, and then the intercom says, Pines twins to the principal's office, Pines twins to the principal's office, to which Stanley says, great, what is it this time? They head over to the principal's office. The secretary points at Stanley and says, not you, him. Which, why would they call both twins if they only needed Stanford? I don't get that. I guess just to make Stanley feel bad. But, Stanford walks into the principal's office by himself as Stanley takes a seat. And his parents are in there. He sits between them, and he's like, and so the principal says, now, Mr. Pines, I'd like to speak with you very frankly, if I may. To which Mr. Pines says, very frankly is the only way I speak. I have to look at something real fast.
Sure.
Let's see. Oh. Nope. Not who I thought it might be. I thought maybe Nick Offerman was playing the part of Mr. Pines, just like by the way he talks, but it's not. Okay.
No, he's only in this show. He's only the agent. Is he Powers or Trigger? I don't remember. I think he's Powers.
He's Powers, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it says, very frankly, it's the only way I speak. To which the principal says, you have two sons. One of them is incredibly gifted, and the other one is standing outside this room, and his name is Stanley. Stanford does not, appreciate that. He looks, embarrassed that somebody would say that about his brother. Their mother says, what are you saying? And he's like, I'm saying your son Stanford is a genius. All of his teachers are going bananas over his science fair experiment. You ever hear of West Coast Tech? Best college in the country. Their graduates turned science fiction into science fact. The admissions team is visiting tomorrow to check out Stanford's experiment. Your son may be a future millionaire, Mr. Pines. To which Mr. Pines says, I'm impressed, and smiles. It's a good visual gag for me.
Yeah, it is good.
Mrs. Pine says, but what about our little freed spirit, Stanley? The principal says, as we watch Stanley listening in, the principal says, that clown, at this rate, he'll be lucky to graduate high school. Look, there's a saltwater taffy store on the dock, and somebody's got to get paid to scare the barnacles off of it. Stanford's going places. But hey, look on the bright side. At least you'll have one son here in New Jersey forever. Stanley looks real dejected here. He's sitting in front of the door, looking sad, and we cut to a swing set on the beach. And Stanley's just kind of moving the swing back and forth. He just sits on it. And he's like, joke's on them if they think you want to move to some stuffy college on the other side of the country. Once we get the Stan Award complete, our life's going to be beaches, babes, and international treasure hunting for us. Stanford says, look, Stan, I can't pass up a chance like this. This school has cutting-edge programs and multi-dimensional paradigm theory. Stanley says, beep, boop, I'm a nerd robot. That's you. That's what you sound like. Stanford says, yeah, well, if the college board isn't impressed with my experiment tomorrow, then, okay, I'll do the treasure hunting thing. Stanley says, but what if they are? To which Stanford says, well, then I guess you better come visit me, you knucklehead, on the other side of the country. And so Stanford walks away, leaving Stanley on the beach. Gosh, why'd you name both your kids Stan?
Look, they later on they establish themselves going by Stan and Ford. Let's just go with Stan and Ford.
Okay, all right, Stan and Ford.
Because Grunkle Stan has been going by Stan the entire series.
Yeah,
and the real Stanford, later on in the episode says, I prefer to go by Ford now.
Yeah, so
this scene kind of bugs me because there's no reason that Stan couldn't just move with him to California. It's let's both move to California.
Yeah,
you can just get a job doing whatever, and I can study during the day and we can have fun all night. There was a compromise here that was realistic and better for everybody.
Absolutely, I agree. But he leaves.
This is fiction, and people don't think that way in fiction.
Yeah, true. But he leaves Stan on the beach, and Stan says, "Without Ford, I was just half of a dynamic duo. I can make it without him, and now thanks to that dumb college, I was going to lose my brother forever." He's at the school at the science fair, and he gets to Ford's perpetual motion machine, and he says, "This is all your fault, you dumb machine." He hits the table that it's on, and it bounces the perpetual motion machine, which I guess blows out the motor. He's like, "Oh no! What did I do?" Yeah, oh, there. All right. He places a panel back on. He's like, "Good as new, probably," and he covers it up so nobody can see that he's broken it, which leads to Ford during the day standing in front of this covered project, and as the admission boards for West Tech show up. I'm like, all right, kid, show us what you got. And he's like, oh, okay, what would you say if I told you the future of technology was beneath this sheet? He pulls the sheet, and his machine is not moving anymore. And so the admissions board says, I'd say we wasted a car trip. He's like, what? It is busted. He has not seen it busted, which maybe Dan should have said to Ford, like, earlier, like, hey, I accidentally broke your machine. Can you fix it in time?
That is at least a little bit more realistic. Because he didn't sabotage it on purpose, but it's like, that's the kind of that's the kind of thing someone might do. Like, oh well, I didn't do that on purpose, but hey, now that it's not working, maybe things will work out in my favor.
Yeah,
because that's a more realistic thing that people actually do. Like,
fair
not
enough.
good, but like that's a thing people do.
That is a thing people do. You are correct. Ford says, but this was stable yesterday. It was working. A fuse must have blown or something. The emission board crossed his name off a list and is like, kid, a perpetual motion machine has one job: to not stop. I don't think you're West Coast tech material. Ford runs like, no, wait, come back. I worked so hard. He steps on a toffee peanut bag, which is, we saw Stan holding that earlier, and he threw it down before he accidentally broke the machine. And Ford immediately knows who's to blame. We cut over to their pawn shop house, and Stan is just like laying on the couch watching TV with a paddle ball. He's like, one paddle, 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 two paddle, paddle, paddle. Oh man, that Jackie O, what a fox. And Ford walks in and covers in front of the TV. Dan doesn't know what's happened, so he's like, "Hey, what's the word, Sixer?" To which Ford says, "Can you explain what this was doing next to my project?" Holding up the toffee peanuts, and he's like, "Okay, I might have accidentally been horsing around, and I broke your machine." He's like, "That was no accident, Stan. You did this to me. You did this because you couldn't handle me going to college on my own." He's like, "Look, it was a mistake. Although, if you think about it, maybe there's a silver lining, huh? Treasure hunting?" To which Ford is really pissed. He's like, are you kidding me? Why would I want to do anything with the person who sabotaged my entire future? And he pushes Stan onto the couch. To which Mr. Pines walks up and says, "You did what, you knucklehead?" Their mother walks in. He's like, "Stanley, what's going on in here?" He's like, "No, wait, I can explain. It was a mistake." Then he gets thrown out of the house, and the father says, "You ignoramus. Your brother was going to be our ticket out of this dump. All you ever do is lie and cheat and ride on your brother's coattails. Well, this time, you cost our family a potential $1 million. Until you make us a fortune, you're not welcome in this house." And he throws Stan's things to him. He's like, "What? Stanford, tell me he's being crazy." Ford closes the window on Stan, turning his back on his brother. He's like, "What? Stanford, don't leave me hanging. High six?" And his father slams the door in his face. So Stan says, Fine, I can make it on my own. I don't need you. I don't need anyone. I'll make $1 million and you'll rue the day you turn your back on me." We get some more narration from Stan. He says, "Thanks to one dumb mistake, I had no brother, no home, no nothing. But I had a plan to fix everything." We get a commercial here. We cut back. We're back in the cave with the older Pine twins and the younger Pine twins. And everybody's just standing in silence for a second before Mule says, "Oh, this story's so sad. You know what you two need? You little broken teacups. You need to hug it out. Huh? Hug it out. Hug trains are coming to the station. Hugapalooza 2000. The older Pine twins are not impressed. Stan says, "Kid, will you knock that off? I'm trying to tell my life story here." It's like, "I decided that I wasn't going to show my face at home till I proved I could make something of myself. Unfortunately, the treasure hunting business was going slow. Apparently, gold's some kind of rare metal." Luckily, I struck another kind of gold. This whole time we see Stan like walking the beach with a metal detector, and it's not going well. And he stops in front of a sign that says door-to-door sales. He's like, in sales. And we cut over to a really bad blurry commercial. But it was the 70s. Or what I assume was the 70s. Definitely late 60s. He's like, hi there, I'm Stan Pines of Stanco Enterprises. Are you sick of this always happening to you? He gets hit with some juice. He pulls up a little towel. He's like, you need the chamois of the future. After a quick flash cut, the chamois has a bunch of stuff on it. Stan looks clean. It's a totally new shirt, folks. It's like, it's made with the same material that astronauts use to clean up juice on the moon. Or cranberry sands on the moon. It's the sham total. It's a total sham. By Stanco. Stan says, oh, I made my mark all right. Unfortunately, so did the chamois. Apparently, the cheap dye I used to color them only made stains worse. Customers were not crazy about that. Luckily, they were chasing me with Stanco brand pitchforks. They run up on his business with these pitchforks, and they all just snap automatically as Stan drives away. He's like, I was officially banned from New Jersey, but with a quick name change, Steve Pinington was all ready to take on Pennsylvania. We get another bad commercial of, hi, I'm Steve Pinington. Are you sick of bandages that are hard to remove? Then what you need is the ripoff. The ripoff will not give you rashes. I repeat, it will not give you rashes.
It gave you rashes.
It gives you rashes. There's a big wordplay over him that says it won't give you rashes. It's good. It won't give you rashes MT instead of TM. That's good. I like that.
Yes.
He's getting chased out of Pennsylvania now because it gives you rashes. I traveled the whole country, always one step ahead of the law. Always looking for something that would be my big break. We see pictures of Stan over this map of the U.S. with the line. One of them, he's at a derby trying to win money. And another one, he's trying to sell a tennis racket called What a Racket. That's great. I like all these scam puns. These are good.
They are good.
And then the last picture of him, well, at least another picture of him, is him running away from the drug cartel with a briefcase full of money. We cut back to the president, and Mabel's like, whoa, so that explains all the fake IDs. To which Dipper says, but wait, what about you, gesturing to Ford? Did you end up at your dream school? He's like, not exactly. We cut over to Backup S'more University. Everyone is welcome here. The dean is like, all right, I know Backup S'more wasn't anyone's first choice, but what we lack in prestige, we make up for mostly bug-free dorms. Here's the thing. I understand that West Tech wouldn't take Ford after what had happened. Why didn't another prestigious school come along? He's obviously smart. Top of the class, good grades. Probably has an amazing SAT and ACT.
Probably couldn't get a scholarship or something.
Maybe. I feel like, with his brain, okay. So once you reach a certain level on the SATs and the ACTs, you just get free college. You get full rides. I know when I was in high school in 2003, if you graduated top 25% of your class, you were almost completely guaranteed to get a full ride at the University of Texas.
Does that stay true for I don't know if that's true for the 70s though.
The 70s were cheaper.
Yeah, but again, I don't want to be unfair to the episode by nitpicking nitpicking fiction not lining up with reality, because it just doesn't for dramatic purposes.
Of course.
But you make a good point. There are totally other schools that would have taken him
Yeah.
There's all kinds of reasons that things should have that this whole thing should have gone differently.
Yeah, it should have worked out maybe just a little better. Sure, maybe not his dream school, but there's certainly something better than Backup S'more University. But maybe he just like you said, maybe he didn't get a scholarship for whatever reason. Maybe West Tech like blacklisted him somehow from prestigious schools. That's a possibility. I could see that. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things you have to accept, I guess.
Yeah, I think it is. The dean tells him, I'm sure your families are proud, more or less. Ford looks at a picture of him and his brother, and he just frowns. He's like, in a place like that, I had to work twice as hard. Luckily, that's what I do best. I went from undergrad to PhD in three years ahead of schedule. I wrote a thesis that was nationally ranked and was rewarded with an enormous check for my own scientific research. But what to study? My whole life I've been teased for my 6 fingers. And that got me thinking about anomalies. I don't know why that was weird to say. He does pick up a book called Anomalous Phenomenon. Anomalous Phenomena. Anyway. And he starts looking through it, all things about like 2-headed ducks and cats, crop circles, a cow with a bunch of different legs, which I think we've seen before. But as he's narrating, he's looking at this book, and the narration says, and according to my investigations, there's one place with a higher concentration of these things than anywhere else. A small lumber town in Roadkill County, Oregon. Gravity Falls. Meanwhile, we cut over to Stan, who's checking off states he's banned in on his little map. And it's a lot of them. Let's see. We got Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota. I think that's Kansas, Iowa, Missouri, Louisiana, Texas. Did I already say Texas? Maybe.
No.
Wisconsin, and then basically all of the Northeast. It's hard to see with his hand in the way. But he's checking off Oklahoma, he's checking off Oklahoma. He's like, meanwhile, your old Uncle Stan was doing good, coming up with a sophisticated new business strategy. He picks up a scratch game called Cash Scratch Fever, which I think is actually the name of a real scratch off. If it's not, I'm surprised.
Probably is.
But he's scratching. He's like, "Oh, come on, owl, a football player with an omelet, ah!" And he just throws the whole thing away. There were more spaces to scratch off. Maybe it has to be the middle. I don't know. He's like, I was in great shape and living it on my own, and the best part was I didn't need help from nobody. He dials a phone, and he dials a payphone, and somebody picks up and says, "Hello, this is Stanford Pines," and immediately Stan hangs up. He's like, "Ah, sigh." Ford says, "I was heading out on my own as well. Got to work using my grant money to set up and investigate these strange properties of this town. Whew. But what would I find here?" he says. He looks over, and a giant wood hand smashes up his car, his gremlin. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, that's the stuff." He's like, "Bingo! I began to investigate at once. I knew I'd have to record my findings." We see him place a book down on a table, as well as a piece of gold leaf where he uses a X-Acto knife to cut out a tracing of his own hand. He sticks glue on the book, sticks the hand onto the first book. He says, "So I created the journals." To which Deborah screams, "The journals!" He's like, sorry, just got excited there about the journals. Please, keep talking. To which Ford says, so I begin to keep a journal. Dipper shrieks again. He's like, I'm just going to ignore that. It's like, there were anomalies everywhere. We see him chasing bat eyeballs. He's like, and the more I looked, the more I saw. He calls them eye bats, as he's collected a whole jar of them and is like writing everything down he can about them, including drawing an image. We see him digging up an egg from the ground, and out pops the doppelganger, which takes the form of his coffee cup. And Ford keeps writing and writing. We get to the floating cliffs where the train track is, where we have the climactic fight between the twins and Gideon in the first season. And he notes that this is not naturally occurring. We cut back over to the shack where he's holding a... This isn't a protractor. What is this called? This ruler thing.
Compass?
It's not a compass.
No, there's a thing called a writing compass. It's a little different.
Maybe. It looks like a wrench, but it's not. It's like a ruler with like an arm. And Ford's saying fascinating. Go ahead.
Okay, I know what I know what you mean. I can't think of the right word, but I know what you mean. Carpenter's rule?
Maybe. Maybe it is some kind of weird protractor. I don't know.
Because protractors are the round one.
Protractors are the round one. You are correct. French curve? Nope. Okay, I'm not gonna get myself caught up on this because I will for hours. Anyway, Ford's like, fascinating. What did you say your name was? It's a gnome. He's like, Schmebulok Senior. I like it. It's good. Ford is very happy. He says, it was finally a place where I felt at home, as he's writing down about gnomes. But there was something that nagged me. Where did it all come from? The camera is spinning around him and the room he's in, with a bunch of like different like things that he's discovered, and focusing on a blackboard with a big question mark. It's like, was a dimension of weirdness leaking into our own? I understand the only way to understand Gravity Falls would be to build a gateway, a portal to the source of the weirdness, but I couldn't make it alone. So I decided to call up my old college buddy, Fiddleford McGucket, a young but brilliant mechanic who was wasting his talents on trying to make personal computers in some garage in Palo Alto. Which, poor Fiddleford.
Yeah.
Fiddleford is playing a banjo here. He picks it up, he says, hello? He picks up a phone because it's ringing, and he says, hello? Fiddleford Computer Majigs? You're saying you're trying to build a universal polydimensional portal? Well, that is mathematically feasible, I reckon. He spits. He says, and so he decides to join. Ford continues, like, many long nights were spent on perfecting the machine. We're watching them work on the machine. It goes a little haywire, causing a blackout in the town. But they're like, with this machine, there would be an answer to the source of the town's anomalies. The mystery shack, the shack in general, explodes with blue light. We see Tyler Cutie Biker and presumably his mother just kind of walking by. And she's like, get out, get out, get out. As they're trying to like get away from the shack, and it's like crazy light show. They finish the portal, and Fiddleford and Ford are walking to the portal with a dummy. And he says, the time had come to test it. We watch them walk up to a safety line. Fiddleford has 1 foot over, which, is definitely a problem.
And it's like caught in a rope.
Yeah, it's like caught in a rope. We don't see that part until the dummy goes. But Ford says, ready, and they release it. Oh, it was caught around his arm. His arm. So they release the dummy. It floats towards the portal, but it pulls Fiddleford towards the portal because it's wrapped around his arm. And he gets pulled into the portal. Thankfully, Stan, it is also wrapped around his leg, and Ford is able to grab the rope and pull him back. There's a struggle between the two. He's like, I got you, buddy. I pulls him out. They're screaming. And he's like, oh, what is it? Is it working? What did you see? Fiddleford starts speaking in gibberish. They don't give me like any kind of whatchamacallit, captions for what he's saying. It just says speaking gibberish, which, you know, adequate. Ford's like, Fiddleford, you okay? And that's when Fiddleford sits up. He's like, when gravity falls and sky and earth becomes sky, fear the beast with just one eye. Ford's like, Fiddleford, you are not making any sense. Get a hold of yourself. He reaches to touch McGucket to like calm him down, but McGucket like flinches away. He's like, this machine is dangerous. You'll bring about the end of the world with this. Destroy it before it destroys us all. And Ford says, I can't. It's my life's work. McGucket says, I fear what we've unleashed upon the world. One, I fear the disaster we might have unleashed upon the world. One, I'd soon just forget. I quit. Ford says, fine, I'll do it without you. I don't need you. I don't need anyone. There's a whispering in the background, and Ford takes like a look around. He's like, what? Who said that? The narration cuts in. He's like, I was in over my head, and I feared I was losing my sanity. I needed help. Someone I could trust. But who? We cut over to Stan, who is in a rundown motel. There's a pounding on his door, to which he says, hey, just give me a few more days, Rico. I'll pay your goons back. I swear. As he reaches for a bat. This is when a postcard gets dropped through his slot and a mailman walks away. Stan looks down and turns it over, and all it says is, please come. Signed Ford. It's Stanford Pines, Gopher Road, Gravity Falls, blah, blah, blah. So Stan trudges out to Oregon in the middle of a snowstorm to Ford's house, and it says, no trespassing, please keep away, blah, blah. It's got barbed wire, whole nine to keep somebody away. So Stan's looking at the door, he's reaching to knock on it, he's like, okay, you haven't seen your brother in over 10 years. It's okay, he's family. He won't bite. He knocks on the door, and Ford busts out with a crossword. He's like, who is it? Have you come to steal my eyes? To which Stan says, well, I can always count on you for a warm welcome. Ford is, so we cut to commercial, we cut back as the squirrel falls frozen onto the roof of the shack. Ford says, Stanley, did anyone follow you? Anyone at all? He's like, hello to you too, pal. Ford pulls him in, shines a light in his eye. He's like, hey, what is this? He's like, sorry, I just had to make sure you weren't, it's nothing. Come in. They're walking through the shack, and there are a bunch of like weirdo, like sciencey stuff. And Stan's looking around. He's like, look, you gotta explain to me what's going on. You acted like mom after a 10th cup of coffee. Ford says, look, there isn't much time. I've made huge mistakes, and I don't know who I can trust anymore. He actually turns the head away on a skeleton as he says this, which is good. He's like, whoa, easy there. Let's talk this out, okay? Ford says, I have something to show you. Something you won't believe. To which Stan says, look, I've been around the world, okay? Whatever it is, I'm sure I'll understand. Then we cut to him in front of the portal. He's like, there's nothing about this I understand. Ford explains it's a trans-universal gateway. I punched hole through a weak spot in our dimension. I created it to unlock the mysteries of the universe, but it could just as easily be harnessed for a terrible destruction. That's why I shut it down and hid my journals, which explain how to operate it. There's only one journal left, and you are the only person I can trust to take it. But I have to ask something of you. Remember our plans to sail around the world on a boat? Stan smiles because he thinks that Ford is about to suggest that they do that. This is not what Ford is about to suggest. He's like, take the book, get on a boat, and sail as far away as you can, to the edge of the earth. Bury it where no one can find it. Stan is not happy. He's like, that's it. You finally want to see me after 10 years, and it's all just to tell me to get as far away from you as possible? Ford says, Stanley, you don't understand what I'm up against, what I've been through. Stan says, no, you don't understand what I've been through. I've been to prison in 3 different countries. I once had to chew my way out of a car trunk. You think you got problems? I got a mullet, Stanford. Meanwhile, where have you been? Living it up in your fancy house in the woods. Selfishly hoarding your college money because you only care about yourself. He's like, I'm selfish? I'm selfish? Stanley, how could you say that after costing me my dream school? I'm giving you a chance to do the first worthwhile thing in your life and you won't even listen. Stan fires back, well, listen to this. You want me to get rid of this book? Fine. I'll get rid of it right now. He pulls out a lighter and tries to light the book on fire. Ford says, no, you don't understand. He's like, hey, you said you wanted me to have it, so I'm going to destroy it the way I want to. It's mine. Ford tackles him like, no, that's my research. The two have a sort of fight over it, where they're pretty evenly matched, if we're being honest.
Magical violence never solves anything.
I don't know about that. But, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, you've never seen an episode of Futurama?
I have seen episodes of Futurama.
But not that one.
I guess not.
Okay. It's a reference. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Stan gets pushed up against a machine by Ford, to which Stan says, you want your book back, you're going to have to try harder than that. He pushes Ford away, and they're accidentally activating the machine through the various buttons and whiz knobs that they're being bumped into. We watch them pull back and forth on the book. Stan says, you left me behind, you jerk. It was supposed to be us forever. You ruined my life. To which Ford said, you ruined your own life. He kicks Stan into a hot machine, which we've seen this mark before on Stan's back. This is where he got it. It's a branding from this machine, which says, caution, extremely hot. Ford's like, oh, Stanley, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Are you? Then he gets punched in the face by Stan. He falls into the lever, which activates the portal, and activates the portal. Stan's walking up. He's like, some brother you turned out to be. You care more about your dumb mysteries than your family. Well, you can have them. And he pushes the book at Ford, and Ford starts to float towards the portal. He's like, whoa. Hey, what's going on here? Hey, Stanford. Ford's like, Stanley, help me. He's like, what do I do? It's like, Stanley, do something. He tosses the journal at Stan and disappears in the portal, which shuts off immediately after he goes through completely. Stan runs to the portal. He starts beating on it. He's like, Stanford, come back. I didn't mean it. But everything's shutting down. It's out of fuel. He's like, come on, I just got him back. I can't lose him again. Come on. Stanford. He's very sad. He's like, I lost him. We're back to narration. He's like, I didn't know if he was dead or alive in some distant galaxy. He's looking through the journal to try to figure out how to start the machine, but all he comes in is across is continued in Journal 2. He's like, but I knew his journals must have the answer of how to get him back somehow. So Stan's now living in Ford's house. He's like, I didn't get much sleep that night. Or the night after that. I tried for weeks to turn that dumb machine back on. But without the other 2 journals, it was hopeless. Finally, I ran out of food. I had no choice but to go into town. He goes to the Dusk to Dawn Mart, where we see those 90s teenagers just living it up in front of it. The woman behind the counter is alive, not a ghost. She's not dead yet. And Stan puts a loaf of bread on there. She's like, oh, just the bread then there, stranger? That'll be 99 cents. Stan pulls out a peso, a packet of sugar, and a paperclip. To which somebody says, hey, that's no stranger. That must be that mysterious science guy that lives in the woods. Everybody is like, oh, what? And they're like gathering around Stan. He's like, no, you got the wrong guy. You see Toby determined, head full of hair, talking to some people. He's like, I've heard of the strange stories about that old shack. To which Sheriff Blubs, who is not a sheriff yet, says, yeah, mysterious lights and spooky experiments. And the old man who runs the convenience store, also not a ghost, says, yeah, gosh, I'd pay anything to see what kind of shenanigans you get up to in there. And this gives Stan an idea, as Lazy Susan says, oh, me too. Do you ever give out tours? He's like, no, not really. Yes, I do give tours. 15 bucks a person. And everybody pulls out money. Somebody asks him, so what did you say your name was, you man of mystery? It's Lazy Susan. He's like, oh, Stanford Pines. They all go to the shack. He's like, all right, step on, folks, to a world of enchantment or whatever. And everybody's looking around. They're not very impressed as Stan pulls out behold, the nerdy science box. It zaps Lazy Susan in the eye, which causes her lazy eye. It sounds like, oh, I assure you that is in no way permanent. Everybody's upset. They're like, I paid $15 for this? And they're grumbling. And Stan's like, hey, you're lucky you weren't a part of the last tour. They never made it out alive, as he dresses up a skeleton. He's like, right? Everybody starts laughing, and they're all okay with Stan scamming them now. He's like, so I came up with a plan. I couldn't leave my brother's house until I figured out how to find him, but I needed money to pay for his mortgage somehow. We watch him glue a armadillo onto a coyote and then change that armadillo's head with a fish in a top hat. And put out a sign that says, question mark?
Big mood.
Huh?
Big mood.
Big mood. The narration continues with, for once in my life, people were actually buying what I was selling. And so the Murder Hut was born, later renamed the Mystery Shack. We watched the shack change over the years to how we eventually know it. It's like, for once being alive was paying off. We see a bunch of different news articles around this mirror that Stan's looking in, including one that says Stan Pines dead, local drifter, new tourist attraction. But he's fitting on his fez. He's like, the old me was dead, and I faked a car crash to prove it. By day, I was Stanford Pines, Mr. Mystery. We watched this room change over time to include Employee of the Year Zeus and a picture of Dipper and Mabel. It's very nice. He's like, but at night, I was down in the basement trying to bring the real Stanford back. I couldn't risk anyone learning the truth and sabotaging my mission, so I lied to everyone. The town, my family, your parents, even you kids. Dipper says, so all this time you were just trying to save your brother? Your Uncle Stan, I'm so sorry I didn't believe you. He's like, that's okay, kid. I probably wouldn't have believed me either. This is when a voice from above says, I heard talking. It was coming from downstairs. Greco says, oh no, we're too late. The agents are coming for us. Mabel says, what do we do? Zeus says, oh man, I was so spellbound by your dramatic tale. I forgot about those dudes. This gives Dipper an idea. It's like, wait, forget. That's it. I think I know a way we might be able to defeat those agents. He pulls out the forget it ray gun thing from the McGucket episode.
Society of the Blind Eye memory gun.
The memory gun from that episode. Why is he carrying this? I don't know. Dipper, what have you been getting up to? But Ford grabs that. Yes, of course. I don't know how you got a hold of one of these, but this is perfect. Ford connects it to some wires in the basement. He's like, if I could just amplify the signal to a radio frequency. There. Now everybody plug your ears and get down. They do. They get down. This is when Agent Trigger runs up to Agent Powers and says, sir, it looks like there's a hidden door behind the vending machines. To which Powers says, excellent. Give me Washington on the line. I've been practicing making sounds of excitement for this very occasion. That's when there's a rumbling, and they're like, what's going on? The totem pole's lies eyed up, and a wave of energy just blasts across the area. Luckily, it causes them all to, try to cover their ears and, get a little dazed, which allows them to close the secret door behind the vending machine, keeping the secret. And as the sound stops, Agent Powers uncovers his ears and says, hey, why am I here? What was I doing? Why am I standing in front of some sort of goofy, fun knick-knack house? Ford walks out in his black trench coat and looking very,
official,
authoritative. Yeah. It's like, stand down, gentlemen. I've been sent with the latest intel from Washington. According to this very real report, we look at this very real report, and it's just Mabel drawings, including the Shadger, which is the snake badger.
Snatcher.
Huh?
Snatcher.
Oh, it's Snatcher. That's not an H. Ha. Snatcher. The Snatcher, and that's Mabel, I guess, being giant, rampaging through some town on fire that says, what hath science wrought? That's good. But Ford is like, all the earthquakes and stuff happening in Gravity Falls were all due to a radiation from an unreported meteor shower. A total embarrassment for your whole department. Luckily, I'm here to take this mess off your hands. But I'll need all your floppy disk and 8 tracks, right? To which Powers says, everything about the case is contained here on this drive, handing him a thumb drive. Ford takes it and says, well, what are you waiting for? A kiss on the cheeks? Get out of here before I have your butts court-martialed. Like, yes, sir. Apologies, sir. False alarm, everyone. They're woozy. They're tripping over stuff. They're like, ugh. Effects of the memory gun. And all of the... What's up?
The effects of the memory gun are terrible.
Yep. They're very terrible. All the agents drive away, run away, fly away, all the stuff. And Ford feeds the thumb drive to a goat, to Gompers.
Does Gompers belong to Stan, or is he like a wild goat?
I don't know. He's
been there for a while.
Yeah, he's just kind of there.
He was in the Zeus flashback episode.
Yeah. He's some kind of weird eternal goat.
Well, no, he's like a baby in that episode.
I suppose. Goats don't live that long, though.
I wonder. 15 to 18 years.
Yeah, you know what? Fair enough. I just looked that up. I was about to say.
Probably old, but it's not unreasonable.
Yeah, it's not unreasonable. The twins are like, great, Uncle Stanford, that was amazing. Stan says, let's not go crazy. It was serviceable. Ford says, thank you, kids, but please, call me Ford. She's like, sure. Dipper says, great, Uncle Ford. So would you mind if I asked you a couple of billion questions about Gravity Falls? Which Ford says, Stan says, all right, kids, it's been a long day. Me and my brother have a lot to talk about, so why don't you hit the hay, huh? To which Dipper says, it's the author of the journals. I've been waiting so long to ask questions about all of this. He's like, no, hit the hay. And he pushes the kids towards the shack. Dipper looks dejected. And Zeus says, I'll just let myself out. And he walks away awkwardly, dials out his phone. He's like, Wendy, I gotta tell you about something for clear the next 14 hours. We cut to the shack at night, and the older Pine twins, Stan and Ford, are looking in a mirror like, look at us. When did we become old men? Ford says, you look like Dad. And Stan says, don't say that. They start laughing with each other. And Ford says, okay, Stanley, here's the deal. You can stay here for the summer to watch the kids. I'll stay down in the basement and try to contain any remaining damages. But when the summer's over, give me back my house. You give me back my name, and this Mystery Shack junk is done forever. You got it? To which Stan says, you really aren't going to thank me, are you? Ford doesn't say anything. It just stares at Stan. It's like, fine, you know what? Okay, I have one condition then too. You stay away from the kids. I don't want them in any danger. As far as I'm concerned, they're the only family I have left. And he storms away. Ford turns away and doesn't look back. The twins are listening in, and Mabel says, did you hear that? I think Uncle Ford said they're going to buy us puppies made of ice cream. Or maybe that's wishful thinking, though. Dipper says, I don't know if this is good or bad. I wanted to be the author, but... And Mabel's like, yeah, I liked it the way things were before. Just us and Stan, the occasional goblin monster. Dipper says, well, I'm sure they'll work things out. To which Mabel's like, Dipper, do you think we'll turn out like Stan and Ford? They used to be so close, but now look at them. They used to be best friends, and then they got all stupid. Can you promise me you won't get stupid? To which Dipper says, not any stupider than you, dum-dum. Mabel laughs. She's like, okay, good night, stupid. And he says, good night, stupid. And he falls asleep immediately, but Mabel just stares at the ceiling. The end credit sequence is Zeus telling Wendy a bad reaccounting of what happened. She's like, looks tired. It's 3 a.m. And Zeus is like, okay. So it turns out that the second Stan, the Stan that we know, was actually Stanley. But the first Stan was Stanford. But we didn't know until that Stanford came out of the portal, which was built by Stanford. But then Stanley pretended to be Stanford. He did the portal because he's Stan, but he's not Stan. And to which when he says, Zeus, it's 3 a.m. It's like, okay, I understand. Anyway, Act 2. Stan started, but he's like, oh. And that's how that episode ends. Good stuff. It's a good end credit sequence. I like it a whole lot. So yeah, that's the episode. It's a really good episode. It's got a lot of world building for the show in general. Very important.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this episode. I mean, it explains almost every major mystery in the entire series. It's funny, it's emotional, it's critical backstory for the characters, critical context for the entire show, and all around it's really fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I wouldn't watch it. It's not an episode I would just suggest. Oh, you want to watch a random episode of Gravity Falls? Watch this one.
Yeah, do not watch that one first.
Don't watch this one first. But it's still a really good one.
Yeah. So we have one question and some answers to this week's post. I literally had to like go everywhere to find them. So the podcast post this week reads, "That's the sham total. It's a total sham." With a picture of Gruckle Stan holding up the sham total. And it says, "It's a tale of two Stans. Ask Dr. Sea Monster and I about twins, mysteries, family secrets, scams, door-to-door products, Gravity Falls, and anything else I'm pining for the falls." And we got one question, which, folks, if you're listening in, I have to tell you that the questions you should be asking us should be fun. This is kind of supposed to be like a fun thing. Because the question we got is from Amy at Swazobeam on Twitter. It says, "Emotional, financial, and physical abuse is being addressed more and more in children's shows. Where do you think this started to evolve past PSAs and the occasional special episode and start getting integrated into plots? And how does Gravity Falls fare?"
Well, so
Go ahead.
Children's TV animation really started in like the 60s and into the 70s.
Uh-huh.
And it was very basic for quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in the 80s, when Ronald Reagan changed the laws for what counted as a commercial or not for versus kids TV, it basically opened the floodgates, so we get all our toy tie-in TV shows in the 80s and into the 90s. But we also have the I forget what it's called, but there's another act where it says that TV channels have to air such and such certain amount of educational programming for kids, and it was always like at 5 a.m. on Saturdays, or like 1 p.m. on Saturday, always. But that's a side issue. So educational and like more complicated stuff was relegated to that. But we did start getting a little bit more complex animation in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we had like stuff that with like long form storytelling and like longer continuity besides just like episodic stuff or comedy only stuff. Then we kind of had a lull at the end of in the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Because by that point, children's animation was kind of in the process of moving from broadcast TV to cable. So we see like Cartoon Network, Disney Channel, really establishing themselves as like the hubs for animation, and there was still kind of a brief lull right around the turn of the century when everything was anime. Everything was all importing anime or dubbing anime or making anime style cartoons.
Right.
That's all there was for like 3 or 4 years. But then American animation started to kind of resurface and make its own thing. And when it did resurface in like the late 2000s, we get stuff like Adventure Time, Elite, and eventually stuff like Steven Universe, Gravity Falls later on. And these shows are a lot more complex. They don't talk down to kids. Like they're still fun comedic things. They're still like kids shows, but like they don't really hide ugly truths from kids. The kind of things that you kind of need to learn about when at some point in your life. As far as how well Gravity Falls fares in terms of like being honest, if not educational, then at least honest about things like emotional abuse, financial instability. I don't know how much you can get from it as like a lesson.
Right.
But like, it's definitely there.
Mm.
Like, economic issues are definitely kind of a sub theme of the show because that pops up a few times. parental abuse, if not parental abuse, but like shitty parenting.
Right.
Because like we see how Pacifica's parents treat her, and that's a major thing in that episode. And like, Stan Forward's father is an asshole. So I can't say for how exactly how much it's for the. I don't know if it's like I don't think it. I don't. I can't say it's like it's doing good in the world, but like it's at least not bad. It's good. It's good for kids. It's good for kids. It's not like damaging. It doesn't like lie about things. It doesn't like obfuscate issues. It's pretty honest, and that's good to see. I hope that answered your question.
You did better than I could have done. Honestly.
Sure. Did what I could.
We did what we could. Which is all I promised. I said we can do our best. And my best was just to relegate that to you. That's the only question we had. Hope to see some fun questions in the future. I like Amy. Amy's a good friend, which is why I go to her sometimes when I'm feeling like, like down about like our question things, especially because like she often responds to them via retweeting and liking them, which, thanks. But she always like leaves us with these thought pieces, which is better than nothing. The question I asked this week is, what, as seen on TV or door-to-door sales product, have you always wanted to try? At Steven RCD on Twitter says, those car seat gap fillers seem like they'd be really useful if they really work. I'm not sure what he's talking about, but yeah, sure. Sounds cool. At Vampiric Yoda on Twitter says, the Miracle Bible. It's just pretty much a hard drive and an audio disc with a Bible on it, but I thought it would be good for long trips. Fair enough. Not the kind of thing I would want, but sure.
So some of my friends on Discord commented. Requiem Cheer said he really wanted to try Flex Tape, the waterproof tape.
Yeah.
And another friend who usually goes by Essence Reaper, he said ShamWow are kind of cool. They actually use them where he works. Mm-hmm. He works for a car rental company, but in the area that like refurbishes cars to be sold.
Right.
And they use them for detailing. Use ShamWows for detailing.
A friend on a different Discord server, Crystal, said that when she thinks of scams, she thinks of multi-level marketing companies. Not really a question, I just thought I should mention that. But she's always wanted to try the slap chop. And then we got into a discussion about how that guy went to jail.
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't have... Okay, actually, this is what I have in my notes for this episode. Well, first of all, since you did bring up twins, I can say that my father was a twin.
Oh, hey, that's cool.
It's the first couple times I met my father's twin brother, it was so fucking surreal. Because the first time I had like fallen asleep at dinner when we were out with some relatives, and I didn't know he was around, and like I woke up later and he was there, but it didn't quite look like so it looked like my dad was there, but it wouldn't make sense that he was there, and it didn't quite look like him. Because they're identical twins, but like my father was a little heavier, and my uncle and my father had a mustache, my uncle does not. So they look a little different. So it was really weird.
Right.
And whenever he comes around for visits and stuff, he's a cool guy. He really is a cool guy, but it's just weird being around him. If you, I don't know if you've ever had a friend or a relative who had a twin that you didn't meet for a long time.
No, I don't think there are any twins in my family.
There's not really any other twins in my family. I am friends with a few twins. The person I mentioned earlier, Requiem Cheer, he has a twin brother. They are fraternal twins, not identical. Let's see. Actually, I guess that's it. That's the only twins I know. Let's see. Like twins I know closely. I'm sure I know other twins.
Right.
Let's see. Um, you mentioned slap chops. I don't have. Okay, so I don't have an actual slap chop branded hand chopper, but I have kind of a knockoff hand chopper, and I've honestly been using it for over a decade, and it's never let me down. Um, Sometimes I need to cut an onion quick, and it does the trick. Um, Especially if I want it really finely minced,
Mm-hmm.
because because sometimes you need like really finely minced onion for something.
Yeah.
And like I can cut onion just fine by hand, but like if I have to cut a lot of it, or if I need it really fine, this thing was pretty handy, and it is easy to clean because it opens up and it like comes apart, and you just rinse everything and you're done. But when I was a kid, I was kind of obsessed with one infomercial with Ron Popeil, the Showtime rotisserie. It had the best tagline, which is "Set it and forget it." It was a little tiny rotisserie oven that sits on your
I
counter.
remember that thing.
It made cooking look ridiculously easy, and it seemed so cool to my like 12-year-old mind.
Yeah, those things look cool. Definitely.
It seemed like it was really interesting.
Let's see.
I always liked the ones that made it look like that made cooking look easy. That's the only infomercial I've seen on TV things that ever have had hooks on me. Oven gloves are really good too. Oven gloves, like the actual like the real heat proof oven gloves. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Things I've seen on TV, products or door to door sales, things that I wanted to try. Honestly, the red copper pans, those always seemed interesting to me.
Those do look interesting. I would like to try one of those one time.
Yeah. I really like cooking.
Yeah,
Door to door thing because okay, fun fact, I have done door to door sales. For real.
sure.
I sold water purification systems, water softening systems for your home. Like works for the entire house. Like not just like
Yeah.
the sink. They were $9,000. I did not sell more than two because it's very hard to convince people in southern rural Texas that they need a $9,000 piece of equipment for their home. You know? Just not a thing. Did sell two of them. I did sell actually a couple of them that they got denied for, so those don't count.
That's rough.
Yep. But it definitely kept a roof over my head for 2 months before I got a real job.
Yeah.
Which they were very upset when I came to collect my final paycheck from them and said, "Yeah, I got a real job." Like, whoa, 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 we don't talk like that here. It's like, well, until you are a scam. It's only a scam in that they charge a lot of people for a lot of money. It is actually a good product, so it's not necessarily a scam. It's just like getting their employees to sell it is a scam because it was, well, all you have to do is do like 30 presentations in a month and you get paid $2,700 a month, which was more money than I'd ever made in my life. So that's,
Yeah.
But what they don't tell you is that they don't have permits to go places because in Texas, other states you can buy a single permit. You can go all over the state with that permit to like do door-to-door solicitations. Texas, you have to get it city by city, and they're expensive. So, So they were like, well, so long as we don't get caught trying to do door-to-door solicitations, it's fine, it's okay. And if you do get caught, you don't get like a ticket or anything. You just get asked to leave town. Please leave town. Do not come back, or you will get a ticket. So every day I would go out, in groups. You could go out in groups, and we would go out, and every day somebody would call the cops, like, "Hey, there are people soliciting." And I was like, so you didn't get to do a whole lot of showings, so you never got to the $2,700. But
Yeah.
door to door things I've always wanted to try. I really want to try the oh shit, what is that vacuum called? I just had it. Kirby. I've always wanted to try a Kirby vacuum cleaner.
Sure.
That and also the rainbow vacuum cleaner, like both of those seem like just real quality. And they have lifetime warranty, so if they they break on you, you just get a new one. My wife and I actually bought door-to-door pots and pans. They were expensive, but if I take a pan outside and I shoot it, I would never do that. But if I did, I could just send in that shot pan and get a brand new one. Like that's how good the warranties are. Doesn't
That's
matter.
a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what I do to it or what somebody else does to it. You just get a new one. No muss, no fuss. I mean, you gotta send in the one that's broken, obviously, but
Yeah.
you can't just get infinite pots and pans. But yeah, so yeah, those are the things I wanted to try out. I can't think of any other as seen on TV product that I was really like, oh, I need to try that. Maybe Mighty Putty. Maybe. But yeah, that's it from me. You got anything else?
Well, we can do voice trivia.
Oh yeah, voice trivia.
Mr. Pines is voiced by Jonathan Banks, who's had a very long career. Will probably be best recognized as Mike from Breaking Bad. Miss Pines is Kari Walgren, a regular staff voice actress on the show. We've talked about her before. And Ford is voiced by some guy.
You're gonna say some guy, huh?
No, Ford is voiced by J.K. Simmons, a man with a long and stunning career.
Yeah.
As a character actor. I don't really need to, but I'll call it a couple highlights.
Sure.
You'll definitely know him as the live action J. Jonah Jameson, because he's J. Jonah's in live action for the Sam Raimi movies, and he has appeared in the MCU as J. Jonah Jameson.
Yep.
And of course, your favorite show, he is Tenzin on Legend of Korra.
He is.
And he was great in that. He does insurance commercials. He's the farmer's
He's the farmer's guy.
professor guy. Juno. He's basically been in everything.
He has.
James Gordon in Justice League.
Yeah, I do like.
Or Jim Gordon on Justice League. Like the Snyder version of Justice League. He's Jim Gordon.
Right. Which I don't know. I'm going to watch that 4-hour movie.
I don't even have HBO Max. I'm not. I have no inclination. I didn't hate Justice League when I watched it. It was like a 6 out of 10.
I don't know.
I can't.
6 out of 10. It was like a 5 out of 10.
I liked it. It was fine.
Yeah.
I don't know if Wonder Woman was good, Flash was good, Aquaman was good. All the characters that I really care about were good.
Yeah. My question
Cyborg
is,
got kind of shafted.
Yeah, apparently Cyborg got real shafted. My question is, however, how much shorter could that movie be if they cut out all the needless slow motion that Zack Snyder likes to do?
I'm sure it adds like a half hour.
At least a half hour to an hour, I think.
At least a half hour.
So
I have no idea how much slow motion is actually in the final version. I've not. Like I said, I have no knowledge. If they do a theatrical release, which I was unlikely, um, I might use my AMC Movie Pass thing to watch it for basically free.
mm-hmm.
But that's neither here nor there. I would much rather watch the characters that I like in their own movies,
Yeah,
directed by different people.
Fair enough.
Aquaman 2, I am excited for Aquaman 2 because, like,
Yeah.
I love the first one.
It's good
First
stuff.
one's one of my favorite movies. Probably my favorite movie from 2019. Is that when Aquaman came out?
Aquaman came out in 2019 or the end of
2018.
2018.
2018.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies from 2018. My favorite movie 2019 was Godzilla and Rocket Man.
Godzilla.
Here in 2018.
Oh yeah.
The Elton John biopic.
Mm-hmm.
2018 was a good year for me. I missed 2018. I liked 2018. It was a good year for me personally.
Fair enough.
For the most part. Anyway, I think that's all we've got.
That is. So where can people find you online if they want to talk to you about stuff?
I'm on Twitter way too much. I'm at Dr. C Monster. That's at DRC Monster. Come and find me on Twitter, where I I haven't done much on Twitter lately. Occasionally make good posts.
There you go.
I troll Vic Mignogna supporters. I still do that sometimes.
Well, it's so easy.
Because Kaylin Dickinson. She's actually a person I am friends with in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So when they like give her shit on Twitter, I occasionally jump in.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's all I got. How about you?
You can find me on Twitter, as always, at DatFirePrincess, spelled D-A-T. You can find me on the numerous podcasts I do, including Let's Pull the Trigger on a Podcast, the podcast where we do this, but for everything by Studio Trigger. We're really struggling with the latest one. Hopefully
the first episodes were good, but after that they've just been weird.
They've been weird and I don't know.
I have no idea what the next episode's going to be like. The show's been all over the place, honestly.
It has.
I'm starting to figure out why I've never heard of anybody liking it.
I've heard of one person liking it, and I have to believe that it gets better based off that one person's liking of it, because I believe in them. So we will see. Up next is the Little Witch Academia movie, Enchanted Parade. That should be good and fun.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we just got to get through this.
And what's after that? Kisniver?
Or we need to decide. It either has to be Kisniver or Space Patrol Lulico, as they both came out within a week of each other.
Well, Kisniver's like an action show, and Space Patrol Lulico is like a comedy.
Okay, so yeah, I'll leave it up to you.
Sure.
So yeah, I have other shows, but anyway, that's where you can find me. So I guess until next time.
Reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So it turns out that the second Stan, the Stan that we know, was actually Stanley, but the first Stan was Stanford, but we didn't know until that Stanford came out of the portal, which was built by Stanford, but then Stanley pretending to be Stanford, he did the portal because he's Stan, but he's not Stan.
Seuss, it's 3 a.m.
Okay, I understand. Anyway, Act 2. Stan started going across like the beach.